Weekend, the EFF has also embarked on their two-day election campaign in Durban. It's led by the party president, Julius Malema. Let's bring in Simphiwe. Brother, look, it is going to be a busy weekend, not only this weekend, but in the lead up to November 1, when people will, cast their votes. But what will they be using to decide on who to vote for? What is the EFF saying in order to persuade voters?
Well, thank you very much, Blaine. I suppose we will pose that question to the leadership of the EFF as we have them here with us today. We're, of course, expecting the CIC of the Economic Freedom Fighters, that's Julius Malema, to be coming down here in Phoenix to speak to the members of this EFF as well as supporters about the program of electioneering, Blaine. But let's not waste time, Blaine, engage the EFF elections spokesperson. That's Ms. Leanne Matthews. Thank you very much for your time. Why start your campaign here in KwaZulu-Natal in Phoenix? If you may just talk to us about that.
You are saying we've just started our campaign. We've been doing this since the date for elections have been announced. We hit the ground running. We've been running. We are in turbocharge, and we'll stop after we are done with the elections. We are here in Phoenix because it's voter registration weekend. President had lined up anyway doing some of his sectorial meetings here as well. So, during elections, we hit every province, and President always does that. So, and Phoenix has been a hot spot recently with the Phoenix massacre, etc. President didn't have an opportunity to come here, so this was his opportunity to come and visit.
Well, certainly the EFF has been one of those political parties that have been, leading the call in terms of trying to, quell the tensions that were seemingly becoming out of control in this community of Phoenix. Your message to your supporters as well as other people who may not be supporters of the EFF, as of course we know the history of this community.
Well, our call is that if we are really serious about, and which we find that a lot of what they'd like to consider themselves either Indian or non-African in that regard, is that we want to build a non-racial South Africa. So when you want to build a non-racial South Africa, we need to change, and this is really a local government problem, on how people live. And, we haven't gotten rid of the segregation of the communities, and that is a large contribution to the problems of racism in this country, because people are still not socializing together, and if they do, it's just as work, and then they go back to their own community. So that is something that we would focus on, or we will focus on when we do take over government as a local government elections. And I know you might cut me off, but there's a very serious problem we woke up to here in South Africa, is that the voting stations, those machines are not working.
Which ones? The new ones that are replacing the
Yes, and across, especially in rural areas, we've had so many calls at our command center, at our headquarters, that people are being literally turned away.
Have you reported this to the IEC?
Yes, we have. Our SG and our elections, our head of elections has spoken to the CEO at the IEC, and they said it's a problem, network problems, whatever. And when an institution like the IEC descends to such mediocrity, there's no hope for democracy in this country. And this is where we're at. First, we have websites that are not working. So now they're excluding over 20 million of youth who are not registered to vote, right? Then you have that people must even access data. And you know that the majority of South Africans can't even afford that. So they've making an intentional decision to isolate people from using or accessing their rights to vote. And that is their only constitutional mandate, and they are failing, and they are failing dismally.
Ms. Leanne, let me just correct one thing before I proceed to the next point. We will never cut you off. You have a right to be here, and you have a right to speak to your
No, but
to
I
your
know
members.
You also have things to... Yeah.
No. Let me just put that on record, that we will never cut you off. That is why we are engaging with you. And speaking of that, Ms. Leanne, the issue of the EFF here here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Your leader, Julius Malema, is on record saying that the party was not performing as well as it should, especially here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. How do you hope to turn that situation around?
Our party, since 2014, the 2019 elections, you saw a huge increase in KZN. But the 2016 local government elections, we didn't perform as well as we did. 2019, you saw that we had increased even the number of members we've had in our legislature. So we are doing what we always do. We're hitting the ground, or we have hit the ground running. We're going to do a lot of VD-based campaigning, so it's not just going to be ward-based, and we make sure that we have our op centre set up at all VDs, especially those that have a large voter registration.
Well, some political parties have been complaining about the issue of the time. I mean, we are now a couple of weeks away from the 1st of November, which is the election date. Do you think that from now going to that date, you have sufficient time to do whatever that it is to convince the electorate?
Well, it's never really ever going to be enough time to go and do campaigning to the lead up into elections. EFF, the only reason our stance on having elections postponed was because you had Ramaphosa giving us a lockdown environment, which is unconstitutional, to conduct elections which are supposed to be in a free and fair environment. But all political parties knew that 2019 is elections and it has to happen. So when we said we were ready, we knew that we were ready to do so. EFF, we are a young party, and not young in the terms of underage, but I'm saying we are youthful. There's not like we have over 65s who need to be running programs. So when we say we can hit the ground running and we can work, that is what we're going to do. So we're ready to take on South Africa.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, we didn't cut you off, you see. Well, that's Miss Leanne Matthys here, speaking on behalf of the Economic Freedom Fighters. They are here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, in Phoenix to be precise, plain, campaigning ahead of the local government elections. We are expecting the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, that Mr. Julius Malema, to come here at about 12 o'clock to engage supporters as well as the community here of Phoenix. Plain, respect to you in Johannesburg for now.
People, I just want to get a sense of what Leanne was trying to say with regards to those devices that she was talking about. You can see our scope, by the way, Simphiwe. We've got a number of remotes up, monitoring a number of feeds. But before we get to the other reporters, was she talking about those new voter management devices, otherwise known as VMDs?
Exactly, Plain. You'd recall yesterday during a media briefing that was held by the IEC here in KwaZulu-Natal, the commission basically saying that they will be officially using these new devices, replacing the old zip machines. But it seems that the EFF is making allegations about these new devices sort of not working. But we will obviously try and engage the IEC with regards to those allegations to see if in fact they do have a point, Plain.
All right, Simphiwe, thank you very much indeed for your reporting. No doubt we'll come back to you in a short while.